Welcome everyone to today's PSGL F6 stream. It's the fourth round of the season. We are in Mexico for the Mexico City Grand Prix at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Should be in for a very exciting race today. Unfortunately, I'm on my own today as Brenton is covering in F5. So yeah, it will just be me and LaPhoenix1 for today's stream. Yeah, I actually missed last week's race. I did look into the results, but I didn't watch the race myself. So I don't have all the information on it, but of course I did do my research. Yeah, based on the penalties from last weekend's race, we had FMD Keko 58 moving from P3 to P7, which of course moved Daniel, Elliott, Terracer, and Carlsbury up one position each, meaning that Daniel actually got promoted to the podium. So yeah, those were the results from last weekend's race. Apart from that, everything stayed the same. Sam kept his win. It's Jerome stayed in P2. So yeah, we're in qualifying. No rain in sight for this session at least. Before I forgot to mention, this league is sponsored by GT Omega, who are PSGL's title sponsor. They provide mostly gaming chairs and also other equipment, I believe. And yeah, you can get a 5% discount by using the code PSGL at checkout. PSGL is also sponsored by Grid Rival, which is an F1 fantasy league where you can sign drivers to your fantasy team and try to score more points than your friends or other people you might know. There's of course also a PSGL league if you are interested in joining that on Grid Rival. So yeah, now that we're done with that, we can have a look at the qualifying session. I believe Ion Dan is the first one. Yeah, or the furthest along the track on his outlap right now. I'm just gonna have to quickly... No, my audio settings are all correct. Good. I don't know if... Maybe I'm a bit weird, but every time I jump in the commentary I feel like my audio's gotten louder, but it hasn't. It's still the same settings as last time. Yeah, just some quick facts about the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. It was first opened in 1959 and has gone through some major layout changes. The current layout has been used since 2015. Well, the big change from this layout was that the track now goes through the baseball stadium, the Forosol, as we just saw Ion Dan go through. He's just come out of that stadium now, around the final corner, starting his hot lap, so he'll be the first to complete the lap, unless he invalidates this one. As he is barreling down towards turn 1 now. Obviously a very, very long straight here. He's gonna brake at around between the 150 meter boards, close to the 100 meter board. Using, well, a lot of that curb in the second part, but avoiding it in the third part. Less aggressive than people are running on F1 2021, that's definitely changed. Now braking at about the 100 meter board for turn 3, heading into the chicane, turn 4 as well. Getting a good line through here, early on the power, using all of the track and curbs as well. Same on the exit of the hairpin. And now moving into the very difficult S section. And you can see that the car will probably, yeah, just get a bit unsettled if he gets it wrong, but nope, just fine from him. The car is all under control, opens up the DRS for the last DRS zone of the lap, as we will now head into the stadium section. Using third gear for the entry, shortened to fourth into the hairpin. Down to second gear. Beautiful apex from him, up to third, shortened to fourth again out of the second to last corner. Now into the last corner, shortened to fourth once again. Over the line, it's gonna be a 1:15.927, the first lap in this qualifying session from Ion Dan. Immediately beating second place driver IRTC by 0.8 of a second, but OP Kian, 15.6 there in his Ferrari, improves on that lap time even further. We've got a Mercedes coming out. Oh no, he's going to pit lane, apologies. We've got Skyline into pit lane, McLaren, that might be Lynx. Just over the line now. 16.5 jumps into P3, that's an Aston Martin. GSP Phillips, 16.7, Red Bull now. Doesn't complete a lap. Let's go on board with Jano as he's just coming around the final corner. Over the line, 1:16.000 P3 for Jano. Ariel Giron, 15.7 in his Ferrari. 1-2 for Ferrari right now. We've got a Mercedes coming around that might be simple. Out he is going into pit lane. Then we've got an Alfa Romeo that is once again down, so we've gone full circle. And Nico has retired from the session. He's crashed just coming off the S section. Lynx is close to him, so we might be able to get a look on him from Lynx's onboard. He's on the left-hand side of the track, somewhere here. Oh, there he is. You can see him in the barriers there, so he's lost it on the on the second to last corner of the S section maybe. And there's a Red Bull. It's Coolman, who has spun basically on the finish line. Currently, well, on the 18.7, I believe. Yeah, 2 seconds off the pace. That would be due to a spin probably, as he might have spun just at the end of his lap. We've got Nick Kenshin coming out the final corner, but he's ghosting right now, so this probably is not a very good lap, or is it? 16.9. Well, second to last out of the people who have done a lap at the moment. Just trying to click through with an Aston Martin in the final corner. That would be GSP Phillip. I believe he's had a spin, but he's now going to pit lane. No issue there. Ariel Jerome also on his way to the pits. Right behind him should be Jano? Yes, Jano. And he also is on his way into the pit lane, or he is in the pit lane now. That's a bit of a voice crack, apologies. I believe RAC Elliott is one of the only people on the lap at the moment, so we'll have a look at his lap. No lap time set from the half driver just yet, so gonna see his first lap in this qualifying session. Hopefully he can propel himself for far up the grid here. Purple in the first sector though, I'm never entirely sure if that's accurate or not in this game. The purple sectors don't really seem to mean that much. So he's now going through the S section. We're gonna see his sectors to split time, well, once he goes over the line right on this straight here. DIA is open. It's gonna be a 56.412 through sector 2. And now he's just got the stadium section to go. Using off track on the entry. Perfectly hitting that apex. Maybe a bit too much curb there on the exit, but that's driver preference as well. Also setup related, how high you're running the car, if you can take that curb or not. Over the line, 1:15.921 third place for Elliott. Only behind the 2 Ferraris. Who else could be on a lap at the moment? SXT Daniel perhaps? I think he is. Yes, he's just going through the S section. Also close to finishing his lap then. Opening up that DS 56.431, so slightly faster than Elliott. So this could be he could be on his way to a top 3 position. Yeah, a bit of a mistake going into the stadium section. So apologies. His teammate letting him pass there. He's now going into the final corner. Short into 4th gear. It's gonna be a 1:15.674 for Daniel. Pole position, at least for now. Beats both Ferrari drivers to the fastest lap of the session until now. Very strong lap from Daniel. Jerome is also on his way to his first lap, or FL Jerome. I have to mention the team name of Ariel Jerome, FL Jerome, because, well, the names are very similar. Maybe I'm messing up the pronunciation of one of them as Jerome is into the barriers! Oh, no, he's just skipped in off the barrier actually. But he did spin, and that lap is going to be down the drain. No damage to his car, thankfully he can continue on, but he does have to be careful as his teammate is coming up right behind him. Has to be careful not to block him. And all good, gets out of the way nicely. His teammate, Dan, down by half a temper at the moment. So not improving on his best lap time, but if he improves by even 6 thousandths of a second, that's the gap that he has to Elliott, he would jump from P4 to P5. Meanwhile, Skyline has split the two Ferraris and jumped into P3. Dan is pitting, so he's not completing his lap. Just trying to find someone who's on a hot lap at the moment. Let's try simple. Is this I'm not sure if this is a hot lap. I think it might be. As he's in low ES. There should be a hot lap over the line. Gonna be a 1:15.986 7th place for simple. Let's try Zem, who's driving for Williams. He's just started this lap, so he is on his way. Well, 9 minutes to go in the session, about halfway through, and he hasn't put a lap in just yet. Same for Jerome and Carlsbury, as he will be looking to move further up the field, currently in last position. Simple as a qualifying ban, is what I'm being told in chat. Well, as I said, I haven't watched the last race as I was commentating in F4 that week. So let me have a look at the stewards' findings. Yes, indeed, Simple 84 did indeed have a qualifying ban, which he has now ignored. Thank you, chat. Nail my wits. Thank you for making me aware of that. Yeah, that would probably be a hefty penalty for Simple then. I'm not sure what the actual penalty for that is. It might be a disqualification even, I could imagine. As Sam goes over the line, 1:15.910 P6 for the Williams driver in his first lap of the session, or his first completed lap of the session. I'm not sure if he's started one earlier. GSP Phillip currently, oh no, he's not improving. He is definitely on an in-lap maybe. Kian though is currently on a lap. Second place in the moment, up by almost a tenth through the first sector. And he's only got about 20 thousandths of a second to Daniel in P1. So Kian will be looking to move back into pole position as he moves into the air section. Stays in 6th gear actually. Most drivers have been going down to 5th for that corner, but perhaps wanting that extra traction through the corner on the exit as well. Oh, and he wants right, and that's an invalidation for him, but his teammate, Ariel Giron, 1:15.483. That's pole position for the Ferrari driver. Who else is currently in the lap? Nick Kenshin is on a lap at the moment, up by almost a tenth, as he is going through the S section right here. Maybe he's found some more time since the end of Sector 1, which were the last timing will have been taken. We'll see in just a second. Yes, he's up by 3.5 tenths, so he's on a big improvement right here. But even 3.5 tenths and only moving up one place, at least for now. Well, he's invalidated now as well, so Nick Kenshin will not be improving his lap, at least on this occasion. Elliott is just starting a lap. He is currently in P7, 1:15.921, his best lap time. We'll see him crossing the Sector 1 split time, the line for Sector 1 in just a second. 28.325, up by 21 thousandths of a second, so he's improving slightly. Actually, 21 thousandths of a second is exactly the gap that he has to 6th placed Zem. So yeah, Elliott might be on his way to improving his position right here, but obviously still got about half a lap to go at this point. Bit of a slide entering the S section there, so you can see him sliding a lot, as now he's lost the car as well! On the exit of the S section, Zem, same place as FL Jerome earlier, has lost the car, waiting for people to go past him now. Would that have been Jerome maybe? No, it was actually Dan who just gone past him, so Dan is almost, no, he's not on the infinite lap, he is actually on an invalid lap right now. SXT Daniel, he went slightly wide there, but he got away with it, no invalidation for him. We're still on board with him for now, as he could be on his way to taking back pole position. I mean, Ariel Jerome right now with a 15.4, pretty big gap to SXT Daniel. But let's see if Daniel can overcome that, if he can find that time. And how far is he up right now? 1.5 tenths. As Skyline has retired from the session just ahead of Daniel here. He's in the barrier right there on the right hand side, you could see him. Well, he must have lost it just entering the stadium section. And then, yeah, ended up in the barrier. Skyline out of the session. And Daniel moves into P2, which, with a 1:15.549. So, FL Jerome must have beaten him a few seconds ago, while I wasn't looking at the timing leader, the timing screen, with a 1:15.591. But, Daniel took that place right back. Simple, once again, is on another hot lap. But, yeah, as been mentioned by the chat and confirmed by me looking at the stewards reports, he does indeed have a qualifying ban, which, well, I guess he's not aware of, especially if he's doing 2 laps now. He's up by 1.5 tenths, which would put him, well, maybe into the top 6, top 5, even if we can find a bit more time in the final sector here. 2 tenths between him and Skyline right now, or maybe a bit more, 2.5 tenths, and he goes over the line, 1:15.748 for Simple H4, and he's moved himself into P6, but again, he does have a qualifying ban, which, well, he was supposed to be serving today, but he hasn't. So, yeah, the stewards will have to say something about that after the race. Phillip is currently on invalid lap. Sieb is on his way into the pit lane. Nick Kenshin could be on a lap, and I think he isn't. No, he's not. Nobody on laps right now, so we're just waiting for the people to exit the pit lane for the final round, as we have about, yeah, almost 4 minutes to go. Kian is the first one out on track. He's currently on his out lap in the S section, so he's close to starting a lap. Currently his best time is a 1:15.696, and if you look at the gap to the leader, that's about 2/10 to his teammate, who is in P1, and about a 10th to Eferal Jerome. So Kian will need a well, a pretty significant gain. So Kian will be hoping to improve on his time now, move himself into the top 3, and of course also hope that the guys ahead of him, or the guys behind him as well, don't improve on the laps anymore, so he can stay in that position as well. Kian heading down the main straight now. It's got a McLaren right ahead of him, who has just come off the pit lane, so he will hopefully let him past, yeah, that would be Lynx. He's the only McLaren in today's race. So yeah, he will hopefully let him past at some point, or just stay far enough ahead not to be an issue. Either way works. DS open for Kian once again. Let's see how much he's gained in the first sector, if he's gained at all. He's gained about a 10th, 28.284, well 92 thousandths of a second, so yeah, almost 1/10 gained by Kian in the first sector alone. Kian could be on his way to a top 3 position here, maybe even more if he can find more time. The gap between Jerome and Daniel isn't big, and the one between Daniel and Jerome is also not particularly big, so yeah. Kian, if he gains just a bit more time, he could even jump onto pole position here. Up by 3/10, and that would certainly be enough for OP Kian. Driving for Ferrari now. Into the final few corners of the lap. Now just one corner to go. Can Kian do it? Can Kian put his Ferrari onto pole position? Beat his teammate? But then again, his teammate will also still have to put another lap in. 1:15.204 by Kian, gaining half a second on his previous best time and putting 2.5 tenths on his teammate Jerome. Brilliant lap from Kian. Let's see if Jerome, Daniel and Eferal Jerome can answer to that brilliant lap by OP Kian. Zem is also just starting the hot lap. We've got Eon Dan who's just starting the hot lap. So yeah, we're seeing basically everyone starting the laps now. Lynx is just about to finish his first sector. He's up by 4/10, so he's on a big improvement just in the first sector alone. So he might be finding even more time. Definitely one to look out for. But I think we'll be mostly focusing on the front runners once they start their laps. So we might not see Lynx finishing his lap. It's Coolman is down by 1.5 seconds, so he'll not be improving his lap, I believe. Would be very surprising if he does manage that. Carlsbury is off the session. Our current championship leader will now be starting from the back. Well, that's quite a surprise. Carlsbury, he won in 2 weeks ago in Miami. And yeah, he took the championship lead, kept it after the race at Belgium as well. But now he's starting at the back, and a good chance that he will lose said championship lead. As ever, it's Jerome is starting the first one in the top 4 to start the lap after Kian. Let's see. He currently has a 1:15.591, so he needs almost 4/10 to beat Kian. As Dan, 1:15.500, jumps into P3. Beats Daniel and his teammate Jerome. Jerome is down by 13 thousandths of a second in the first sector. What about Ariel Jerome? The Ferrari driver, he's also just about to finish his first sector, and he is up by 73 thousandths of a second. What about Daniel right behind him? Down by 33 thousandths of a second, so only Ariel Jerome out of the current top 5 is on an improvement. Let's see, Eferal Jerome will be finishing his second sector in just a minute. As he runs wide and invalidates the lap, so Eferal Jerome will not be improving in this qualifying session. What about Ariel Jerome, the Ferrari driver? He is up by 73,000. Oh, but he's also invalidated, so he will also not be improving. The same goes for Daniel. All of these guys not improving right now. Simple H4 up by 6 thousandths of a second, but again, he does have the qualifying ban. Jano around the final corner of the lap. 1.5 tenths gained through the first 2 sectors. It's gonna be a 1:15.586, jumping into the top 5. What about Zem? Is he up on his time? No, he's not. 10 seconds down, so he's on a slow lap right now. Simple H4 is invalidated as well. I think that's everyone done. Elliot is down by 3 seconds. Dan is on his way to pit lane. It's Coolman might still be on a lap. I think he's the only one who could be improving right now. He's currently P15 with a 1:18.768, and now he puts in a 1:15.837, so he almost a 3-second improvement and jumps into the top 10. Well, that should be qualifying done. Elliot is the last driver still driving, but he's down by 4.5 seconds, so we won't be seeing any further changes to the order. So it's the Ferrari 1-2, Kian from Jerome, I mean 1 lap by Kian, 1:15.204, with the next driver, Ariel Jerome, 1:15.483, almost 2 full tenths behind him. Big gap at the front. Very impressive performance from Kian, but of course also from his teammate Ariel Jerome, and then right behind him was, I believe, the Alfa Romeo of Ion Dan, who finished in 3rd place in this qualifying session. Yep, there we go. Full Dutch top 3. Very close margins between Jerome and Dan. Daniel in P4. Well, the only one in top 6 not to be from the Netherlands, with Jano and Jerome in P5 and 6, Elliot in P7, Skylar in P8, Simple H4 in P9, It's Cool Man in P10, Zem in P11, Nick Kenshin in P12, IRTC in P13, Philip in P14, Lynx in P15, Nico in 16 and Carlsbury, the current championship leader, starting in last place, with both Carlsbury and Nico not having completed the lap in this qualifying session. I mean, that was a very exciting qualifying, and it should hopefully set the stage for an even more impressive race. And I believe I actually got the gap wrong. I said almost 2 tenths. In fact, almost 3 tenths from Kian to Ariel Jerome. That is a very, very impressive lap time from OP Kian. So he is definitely the favorite for the race win after that performance in qualifying. Right, we are now on the grid for the race. There's no formation lap still because of a glitch in the F1 game where only the host will keep his tires warmed up after the formation lap. So we've decided to turn it off completely so everybody has cold tires, as that is the best solution, the fairest solution. That way, yeah, it's at least equal, even if it's annoying. Right. There was some discussion about a lobby restart due to Simple H4 not serving as qualifying ban, but the tier coordinators have decided against it. We will be starting as normal, so yeah, they will deal with it afterwards. So I guess I'll be, or well, Brenton or me, one of us, hopefully, if we are able to make it next week, both of us hopefully, will update you on that situation, what the penalty for Simple ends up being, as I am pretty sure that he will be penalized in some way for ignoring his qualifying ban. Obviously I don't think it was on purpose, I think he might have just forgot, which well, shouldn't be happening, but it does happen. Yeah, while we wait for the drivers to ready up, I'm just gonna go quickly through what I think the strategy will be. I think most people will start on hard tires, as it's beneficial to have the medium stint at the end in case there's a late safety car. Oh well, if there's an early safety car, it doesn't really matter if you're on hards or mediums, as you can't box either way to go to the end. I would expect probably about 20 laps on hards and 16 on mediums. I don't think the softs last for that long. I have to admit I haven't raced myself around here on the new patch, or since the 1.06 patch. Yeah, so I'm not sure how the tire performance has changed since then, but I'm expecting most people starting either on mediums or hard, and then going either to mediums or hard, depending on what they started on. Hope we'll see in a second if anybody has gone for softs, but I probably won't be able to even have a look at that as we want the formation lap. We'll just jump straight into the action. Now that the drivers have readied up, only 3 seconds to go until we see the 5 red lights appear. Well, a few extra seconds for loading, and there we go. The 5 red lights are all on now, ready for the race start. And the race has started, looking at a good start from Kian. I think he's gotten away well. There's an AlphaTauri in the background spinning, of course, on the cold tires. Very difficult start. There's a Haas-Niveau. Carlsbury is off the race. The championship leader is off the race immediately, after about 5 meters, and there's a safety car. Immediate safety car. Race has been neutralized. We didn't even get down to the first corner before we got a safety car. What has happened at the back there? Jano is all the way at the back. Carlsbury is out of the race. I mean, that's a massive shame. We've got a few drivers still swapping positions, maybe having illegal overtakes, just having made those moves maybe as the safety car came out. Well, That's not something you see every day. A safety car before we even really got going. And there we go, the game confirms it. One stop, hards to mediums, about 20 lap on hards. Can now actually have a look at the tires that drivers have chosen, and indeed, most people are starting on hards. Got Kian actually on the mediums, the same for Elliott, Nick Kenshin and Nico on the mediums. Carlsbury was on the softs, and Tiano on the mediums as well. The rest of the field is indeed on the hard tires. I don't think we're seeing anybody pit under the safety car, unless they have any wing damage, which some people might do. I'm not sure who was involved in the accident. It was a pretty big accident at the back. Jano losing it off the line. Carlsbury ended up on the wall somehow. I have to admit I was focusing on my was putting my attention in the front. Let's see if anybody pits. Kian, Jerome all staying out. I believe the front guys shouldn't have been involved in that accident. It was more towards the back, so none of them will be pitting. But will anyone at the back pit for a new front wing? No! Nobody opting to pit. So, well, at least no significant wing damage for anyone then. Just Carlsbury who was out of the race after that early crash. Yeah, it would have been Jano and Carlsbury, I believe, as I did see Jano losing it off the line on the cold tires, probably just using too much acceleration, too much throttle immediately. And Carlsbury maybe trying to avoid him. That's what I'm thinking might have happened. Yeah, just smashed into the wall. Very, very disappointing for Carlsbury. And that would almost certainly be his title, oh well, his championship lead for now gone. Obviously there's still quite a few races to go, so he could still recover. I don't think it's over for him by any means. Yeah, we'll actually have a look at the position change as well to see. I mean, Jano obviously the big loser of that start along with Carlsbury, as he has made that mistake, dropping 11 positions. Zem has dropped 3, Simple H4 has dropped 2 as well. Eon Dennis lost 1. Top 2 stayed the same. Simple Daniel has moved up from P4 to P3. Elliott jumped 2 places. Coolman as well jumping up 3. Nick Kenshin 3. Sieb jumping up 3. And Nico actually the biggest gainer as when he started in P16 is now up into P12. As well as Philip gaining 1 place from P14 to P13. Well, this early safety car is now acting as a formation lap replacement almost, as these guys will now be warming up the tires. And I was able to go through the strategies of the drivers, which, well, I guess that worked out quite well then. I believe the safety car will probably be coming in at the end of this lap. At least that's what I would expect. We've done 2 laps in the safety car, everybody is caught up. I see no reason to do any more laps under the safety car now. Of course, this could extend the first stint, especially if you're on mediums, as you will probably want to avoid going for hards earlier than you have to. I think the hard is, well, the hard is certainly the slower tire, but the question is how much that changes based on tire wear, how quickly the medium wears out. Of course, Kian might have now lost the biggest advantage that he had early on, maybe being able to pull a 1 second gap early on, then pull away. But he's now going to have to try again. And I would argue putting a 1 second gap after a safety car is slightly more difficult than off the start, because on the start you see more people fighting for position, as obviously it's easier to get a good start when you're doing a running start after the safety car. Hopefully the safety car will now be called in. And indeed, it has been called in, just as I mentioned that. And then we go. Kian will now be setting the pace for the final sector. He decides when the race gets restarted, and once we cross the line, we are racing again. Until then, the drivers will have to keep position. Everybody warming up the tires now, obviously. Kian still waiting to go, probably will go off the final corner. I think he is accelerating now. Yes, Kian is going. We're racing again. And I believe Dan has lost it as he's losing multiple places. 5 second penalty to Daniel for a collision with Dan. So they must have had contact. Now 5-second penalty for Dan for speeding in the pit lane as well, as we have these guys, Daniel, Elliott and Jerome going 3 wide. What about the 2 fries up ahead? No fighting there. Let's go back for the fight to P3. Daniel and Jerome side by side in turn 1. Jerome takes position, but Daniel still on his outside. Daniel fighting back, and I think Daniel's got it now to the inside of the chicane. There we go, Daniel's back past. Elliott getting involved as well, with It's Coolman right behind him as well. Also passing Jerome now, I think. No, It's Coolman not able to be pulled alongside, but Daniel and Elliott fighting over P3 now. Elliott going around his outside, using this medium tires to his advantage, and Elliott moves up into P3 off the restart. Very, very good fighting between those guys over P3. That was very, very exciting. Skyline has also gotten very close based on that now, and I mean also a 2.5 second gap from Ariel Jerome to RAC Elliott now, as those guys have lost loads of time fighting that much on the start. Meanwhile, Kian has already pulled a 1.5 second gap to his teammate. So Kian doing a very, very good job early on here to pull that gap that he needs. He does have to get him out of DRS range, so he's not pulling long, and then has a big advantage later of having the medium tire while also still being very close to him. Fast lap the race from Kian, obviously 1:18.9, first racing lap, or first full racing lap of the race. But still major fighting going on behind him. Nico is very close to Simple H4 here, using all the old tech he has. Is he gonna go for a move into turn 1? Is he gonna pull alongside? He has had a little lock, but he's decided against it. Simple H4 stays in P9, Nico stays in P10. Lynx and Philip are fighting side by side over P12. But Philip defends nicely and keeps the position for now. Once again, I think we've got Nico very, very close to Simple H4 up the inside into turn 4. And this time, Nico's got it done and moves into P9. And indeed, Simple H4 not able to fight back. Lynx and Philip now fighting once again out of the hairpin into the S section. Who's ahead right now? Terrible camera angle right here, I have to admit. And Philip has kept the position. Lynx once again not able to pass the Aston Martin driver. Meanwhile, Elliott has pulled away from Daniel, using those medium tires to his advantage. Daniel, of course, having that penalty for the contact with Dan on the restart. Dan, well, right now he's way behind the field. He boxed just after the restart, so there must have been something happening between those two guys. Yellow flags again. I think it's Coolman this time, who has spun through the stadium section. There we go. He's down to P15, so second to last place for It's Coolman. Philip and Lynx once again very close. These two cannot be separated right now, as Lynx will he once again try to go for a move. Skyler and Nick Kenshin swapping position as well as Nico getting involved. The two Alpines fighting over P7 and 8 now, as Nick Kenshin has already passed both of them, but Skyline defends from his teammate at least for now. Lynx still not able to get past Philip here. It's all kicking off now in the early laps of this race, and Skyline keeps position from Nico. What about Lynx and Philip? Lynx might be having to wait for a little while now, as Jano's also putting him under pressure. Lynx now more on the defensive instead of the attack for once. And Lynx runs a bit wide, allowing Jano to send one up the inside, and Jano, I believe, is gonna guide him here around the outside into the S section now. Yes, indeed, Jano gets past him. Moves into P12. Skyline is very, very close to Nick Kenshin here. He might be able to fight back with a DRS on the main straight. Might also help his teammate, who does have the better tire at least for now. Could be a bit of teamwork going on, maybe from the Alpines. They are in a 2 vs 1 against Nick Kenshin right now, as his teammate is down in P15. But are they anywhere close enough? Nico has slightly more ERS than his teammate Skyline. Will he use it to get past him? He is burning some of it now. Is he gonna try to go for it? Opening up that DRS now, but obviously Skyline will have DRS as well. Nico pulling alongside. Yes, there we go, pulling alongside his teammate, who will come out ahead after turn 1. It's Nico who's braked very later than Skyline and takes P7 in this race, away from his teammate, now pulling Nick Kenshin into his sights as well. Meanwhile, we've already got a 3-second gap between Kian and Jerome now, so that gap is increasing as well. Jerome has also put a 3-second gap on Elliott, so the top 3 right now are nowhere near each other. At least in comparison to the rest of the field, who are, well, all within a second basically. I mean, I think it's just one train from Nick Kenshin to Zen. They are all, yeah, from P6 to P14. All in one train, all in DRS range to each other as Zem gets a 3-second time penalty. Meanwhile, Jarno is all over Philip right here, but Jarno's lost it! Jarno has lost it coming off the section. That's him down to P15 and out of the fight, as he was just about to pull off that move maybe, as he was very, very close. Nico though, only 3 turns between him and Nick Kenshin right now, and now obviously with the massive main straight. This is a very good opportunity for Nico to overtake the Red Bull driver. Can he pull it off? He's going to use the DRS. Nick Kenshin won't have any DRS, and I think this should be an easy move for Nico as he pulls to the right hand side and gets it done on the straight even. Skyline is too far behind to attack him. Sieb gets past Simple H4 for P9. Lynx is still stuck behind Philip. He's been trying to pass him for the entire race now. Well, for the entire 8 laps that we've had until now, but he just hasn't been able to do it. He's almost out of ERS. Philip, well, he's looking slightly better, but also only about 25%. Still, Lynx, well, he might have decided that is enough for now. He's gonna wait to recover some ERS, maybe try again later in the race, maybe try with an undercut or an overcut, which actually works better on this version of the game because of the cold tires when exiting the pit lane. Just clicking through, also wanna have a look at the guys more at the front, see if they are close to each other, maybe setting up a move just to make sure I don't miss anything. Lynx is now finally gotten past Philip, coming off the S section, just as I was saying he might be holding position for a while. He has finally gotten it done, and moves into P11, Philip down to P12, and Lynx now putting Simple H4 on his sides. That would be the first, the last points paying position in this race. Lynx only 2.5 tenths behind Simple H4, using all the ERS he still has left, which isn't much. He is down to 0% now, but he's still gonna make the move. I think he's gonna lose the pace now to do it. Simple H4 is also derating. Both of them have basically no ERS left. Lynx sends one up the inside. Very close there on the inside, just about having the space. And Lynx does pull it off. Simple H4 still alongside. Philip getting involved as well. Oh, contact between Simple H4 and Zem, or was that Philip? No, it was Philip. And that was very, very close, as Zem sends up the inside as well now, but he decides better of it. That was very close as well to contact. These fights over the last, from P10 to P13 right now, also very, very aggressive. Lynx finally getting those moves done. Up into P10. Yellow flags in Sector 2. That is Nick Kenshin. Nick Kenshin has lost it through the S section. And he's now going to drop to P14, P15 even, as Jarno is just coming up behind him. Yes, there we go, down to P15. Breaks the ball as well, as he wasn't able to keep it on the track just there. Still a fight over the last points paying position here, as, well, it's now actually the last 2 points paying position, as Nick Kenshin obviously spinning has thrown all of these guys up one place, and it's Philip, I believe. Yes, Philip has lost it through the final corner, but he has kind of recovered. Lost a lot of time though. Lynx, another move from the McLaren driver. He has still no ERS in his car, but he keeps making those moves up into P8 now, past the Williams of IRT and gets himself even more points, while Simple and Zem fight over P10, and Zem gets the move done, moves into P10 on track, but he does have the penalty at the moment that Simple H4 does not have. Oh, I'm gonna have to breathe for a second. This is, it's been a crazy first 10 laps of this race. I've been shouting constantly, I feel like. But, well, the race doesn't seem to be settling down, at least here in the midfield. The front 3, or the front 4 even, not really doing that much, but the midfield has been crazy today. And I think we'll be seeing even more of that going further into this race. While Kian is still continuing to extend his lead, but you might be seeing Jerome able to catch him later on in the race, as Sieb gets a 3-second time penalty for receiving multiple warnings. As I was just about to say, Jerome will have the medium tire later in the race, so we'll have the advantage later on. Skyline with the penalty as well now. Also 3 seconds for the Alpine driver. Just seeing those penalties rack up now. Zem is going to be fighting his teammate in a second here. Zem does have significantly more ERS. No tire advantage for either driver, but Zem will have DRS, Sieb will not. I think this should be an easy move for Zem, especially if his teammate decides to be, decides to be a good teammate and let him pass, and he's not putting much of a fight. Zem gets past Sieb, up into P9. Let's see if those two work together to keep Simple H4 behind them. If they are now in P9 and 10. Jarno gets past Kuhlmann. Both of them having spun early in the race, now trying to recover. Jano back up to P12, Kuhlman down to P13, Philip right behind him as well. So we've got a group of 3 drivers right here who made mistakes earlier and are now trying to recover from said mistakes. It's Jerome is very close to SXG Daniel here. We might be seeing him going for a move on a Mercedes driver soon, about 6/10. I mean, he's been on about this gap for a long time now, but just never getting close enough to pull off the move, to move into P4. I've been keeping an eye on the gap, but well, right now the midfield is relaxed just a little bit. They're still close together, but not literally within a tenth or two of each other at all times. So we can have a bit more of a look at the front runners, even if they aren't making moves at this moment. Nico, about 6/10 behind Jerome. Also, Jerome will have the DRS, so no chance for Nico to pull off a move here, even if he does have... oh, I don't even know if he's still in tire advantage. I mean, it's been 11 laps at this point. The mediums might be just starting to show their age a little bit. The hards could be getting into their own, at least compared to mediums. Could be wearing out a lot less. At least that's what I would expect from the hard tires. Simple H4 is very close to the Williams of Seep here. Could be trying to make a move now on second DRS straight. Seep not keeping that DRS from his teammate. So yeah, Seep has been dropping down a lot. Does he maybe have some damage on his car or something? As he has been losing a lot of pace. He was, well, definitely, he was ahead of all these guys. We would have been at least decently fast, but now he's not able to keep in DRS range. He's been losing positions for the last couple of laps. He's been overtaken by Lynx and Sam, and now Simple H4 is all over him as well. So either Seep is struggling right now, or he might have some car damage as well. Nico down to 4/10 between him and Jerome. So the mediums are still doing just fine. Not slowing down right now. Bit of a mistake from Daniel there. You could see him sliding all of that happen, but he's fine. 6/10 the gap between him and Jerome should be big enough to keep a position. I don't think we'll be seeing anybody making a move here, as the ERS between Daniel and Jerome is also remarkably similar. Both at a, well, pretty much exactly 50%. And we've got nobody trying to make a move here, as maybe Jerome is getting close to Daniel. Could try to go for a move on the second DRS straight. Nico running very wide there into turn 1. That's going to cost him a bit of time and cost the opportunity to take advantage of a move. Simple H4 getting past IRT Seep. It's Jerome though. Does he get past Daniel here? No, he's just not close enough. I think Daniel might be running some very high wings, as he extends the gap to about, what, 7, 8, 9 tenths through the S section, and then Jerome can't gain all of that back on the main straight. I think that's what's going on here. We'll see it through the S section now. Daniel should be gaining some time. At least that's what's been happening for the last couple laps at least. Yeah, especially in the exit of the S section, Daniel just gained a tenth or even more from that one corner. So I think Daniel is running at least slightly higher wings to be able to extend the gap every single lap like that, or he's just able to get the car around the corner. I say, to doesn't have to be set up well. It could also just be him right now being able to get more performance out of the car. It's around. He does have a lot of ERS though, but well, only a bit more than Daniel. But of course, does have the DRS advantage. Half a second between them right now. Can Jerome pass the Mercedes driver? Can he send one up the inside into turn 1? He's getting close. He's getting very close. But once again, not close enough. But there's one more DRS straight right behind this one, as they exit the triple chicane, turns 1, 2, and 3. 3/10 separating them. Is Jerome close enough? Is he gonna burn the ERS, or is he gonna stick behind the Mercedes driver? He is still sticking behind. He might be actually comfortable where he is right now, as Daniel does have a what, 3 or 5 second penalty actually. Yes, he had the contact with Dan on the restart, which he got a penalty for, which well, we didn't see on stream, but that's the only way to get 5 seconds on the safety car, I believe. But Philip all over It's Coolman here as well, fighting over P14 and 13. The Aston Martin and Red Bull driver, well, both recovering from earlier mistakes, but still running outside the top 10. 3 second time penalty to It's Coolman, so that would be hurting him in his way back up the field. Jerome has lost some time to Daniel. He's not quite close, not quite as close as he was in the last clip, but he's been recovering more ERS than Daniel. So once he starts using that, he could have an opportunity here to make that move on a Mercedes driver to finally move up into P4. We could be getting close to the main runners boxing as well, as we're 15 laps into this race. As I said, the predicted strategy would be 20 laps on hards, 16 laps on mediums. So around lap 16, lap 16, lap 17, because the safety car maybe a bit later, we'll be seeing these guys pit. Potentially, I'm not sure how long the soft tires last, how good they work on this track, if it's an option at all. I don't think the softs are much of an option outside of a late safety car. I think we'll be seeing most people box for either mediums or hards, depending on what they are on right now. Of course, worth mentioning, you only have one set of mediums, one set of hards. No second set on either compound that you can use in case there's a safety car, or for any strategy experiment either. Most tracks just are a simple medium to hard or hard to medium, depending on what you prefer. Most drivers do tend to prefer the hard to medium, as especially if there's late safety cars, you want to be on a medium tire. Skyline gets the second penalty of the race for him, I believe. That would have been up to 6 seconds. Yes, you've got both Jano and Sky up to 6 seconds already, so they are really struggling with the track limits. As Nico, the first driver to make a pit stop in this race, puts on the hard compound tire. So he's the first one to blink. He's gonna exit the pit lane in probably P12 behind Philip and cool man Nick Kenshin. Oh, not Nick Kenshin, sorry. Jano is in the pit lane. Jano, he started on me as well, now boxing for hards. Nico exiting in P14. Jano might come out in 15th or 16th. Yeah, it will be 15th as Dan is not even in the final corner yet. There we go, the first 2 pit stops in today's race. But still, the fight over P4 is going on here. Jerome is right behind Daniel in DRS range, in striking range. Daniel will be seeing him in his mirror, feeling the pressure at this point. I mean, it's been like this for a long time now. I think even since the safety car restart, Jerome has been in Daniel's DRS range. Kian is in the box now. The race leader has pitted. Of course, this means Jerome will take the race lead for now. But of course, he will have the box as well. Kian will now be going to the end of the race. We've got Elliot in the pits as well. So we're seeing the medium runners now box, just as I thought, on lap 15, 16, maybe 17 if Nick Kenshin decides to go for longer. Dan pitted on a safety car, so he's on slightly faster mediums. Kian exit the pit lane in P5, right behind the McLaren of Lynx. We might be seeing Zem pass him, as Kian will have cold tires now early on in the stint. Skyline is also in the box now. He's gonna drop down to about P14, I believe, behind his teammate Nico. Kian aggressively warming up those tires ahead of Zem now. Let's have a look at his steering wheel. He's already got them up to temperature. Good work from Kian there. He's only up to 90 degrees, at least that's what it says on his steering wheel. Actually no, 80. Okay, but so he's just getting them up to the working range. So he's gonna keep ahead of Zem, I believe, as it would be very difficult for the Williams driver to make a move through here, and he is also not gonna be on this tire for much longer, I don't think. Lap 20 should be the optimal, or the expected pit window, pit lap for hard runners. Yellow flag in sector 2 for one of the Alpines, that is TRDE Nico, who has spun around coming out of turns, well, that's turn 6 I believe, if I'm counting correctly. Yes indeed, that's turn 6. I didn't have the track map on earlier, but I closed it to have a look at something else on my notes. Lynx is now in the pit lane as well. First hard runner to box, so it is an early pit stop, lap 18, going into mediums. Very, very early pit stop for the McLaren driver. He's gonna leave the pit lane in already down to P10 and 11 now. Philip in the getting past him as well. Might be close to via Skyline here, the Alpine driver. Just comes out of the McLaren. Drone, meanwhile, well, now he's putting more pressure on Daniel. He's down to 4/10. Trying to get past the Mercedes driver still. Let's see if he can do it, if he has to wait for the pit stop phases, do an overcut or an undercut, or even just overtake him in the pit lane straight through a faster pit stop. Obviously that's an option as well with the new this year immersive pit stop, where you can time your pit stop yourself. So if a driver messes it up, there is an opportunity to have a faster pit stop, get past him that way. But I think the easiest way would still be to just do an overcut Especially in this game, overcuts are quite strong. Stronger than the undercut, at least over one lap, as the cold tires are a significant performance loss. 3-second time penalty to Lynx. I believe it's also a second one of the... No, it's first one of the race, apologies. Fast left the race from OP here, as Drone finally goes for the move. Moves up into P2. Oh, does he? No, he doesn't! He was already ahead, but Daniel gets back past him. How has that happened then? Jerome doesn't get past Mercedes driver, even though he was more than just alongside. Is he gonna try again? No, he's not. He is letting Daniel have the position. So I think at this point it's on purpose. I think Jerome is happy to stay behind Daniel. He doesn't think he can catch the two Ferraris, Kian and Jerome up ahead anyway. So he's happy to just stay behind Daniel, not take the risk of overtaking him, as it can of course end in an incident. And with Daniel's penalty, he will jump him anyway. Let's see if Ariel Jerome decides to pit on this lap. I mean, he might box now, he might stay out for another lap. It is about time. On about maybe this lap or the next 2 laps. And he does pit! Ariel Jerome is in the pit lane. And this will likely mean that he's going to end up behind his teammate Kian, who boxed a couple laps ago, but he will have the medium tire, so he might be able to catch him. Daniel's in the pits now. Jerome is still staying out, so he's going to take the lead for the next couple of laps. And indeed, OP Kian comes out ahead of his teammate in the fight for this race win. But... well, as I said, Ariel Jerome now on the mediums. Can he catch him? He has 16 laps to go. He does have a tire advantage. This could work brilliantly for the Ferrari driver. Oh well, right now it's working brilliantly for Ferrari either way. They're running in a 1-2. The worst thing that could happen to them is they somehow don't win this race. But Ferrari are looking very, very strong today. They'll be very happy with their performances. In both today and also in the last couple of races. Both Kian and Jerome have been front runners in every single race this season up until now, at least based on what I've seen. Once again, I did miss last week's race, which well, I did have the results written down. So well, Kian finished 10th, and Ariel Jerome is not in the top 10. So well, they must have had a bad race then. But they are obviously up there on pace, very much so. I think 2 of the fastest drivers in this division, of course, alongside some others as well. FL Jerome has been very impressive. Carlsbury, of course, our current championship leader, even if he's well, won't be championship leader after today, I'm pretty sure. 5-second penalty to Nico. So that's his first one of the race. That is his first one, indeed. Jana now the 3rd penalty of the race, up to 9 seconds of penalties. Kian is a penalty as well. When did that happen? Kian has a 3-second time penalty, which he must have gotten at some point while I completely missed it. Sieb is in the pits. Simple H4 is in the pits as well now. It's Jerome is still staying out, with Kian only 4 seconds behind him. 7 seconds the gap between Kian and Jerome. Jerome has to gain 4 seconds in the last 15 laps, get into a 3-second range to his teammate if he wants this race win. It's Coolman very close to the Haas of RAC Elliott, but no, he doesn't have any ERS. Elliott does have the DS advantage right now, so no chance for Red Bull driver to make a move on the Haas. Meanwhile, Jarno also very close to Simple H4. He has Simple H4 just coming out the pit, so he'll have cold tires, and this should be an easy move for the AlphaTauri driver. Unless he decides not to do it for some reason. He is deciding to stay behind. This definitely could have been pulled off by him. But he's staying behind the Mercedes driver, not taking the risk of potentially the Mercedes losing the car on cold tires, which can very much happen. It's an easy mistake to make. These cold tires definitely impact the car's performance, especially on a track as difficult as this. As Jerome is now in the pit lane, finally after 21 laps, and Ariel Jerome puts in the fast lap of the race. Of course, if it's Jerome moving on to medium compound tires as well, Ariel Jerome down to 6 seconds, so he's gained 1 second on Kianes already. Only 3 more seconds to go. Elliott takes P3. Jerome comes out in P5, but Skyline is right behind him, though he has no EAS at all. So Jerome should be able to keep this position, should be able to stay in P5. Well, we'll see if Skyline can attack him, but I don't think he will. Even if he can, there's not much of a point, as he doesn't have any EAS to defend him anyway. So it's a pretty pointless fight. Meanwhile, Jerome about 50% EAS, so significantly more. He'll be able to defend this position for sure. Another fighting group right now is Jano and Simple H4. Very close together, about 310 separating them at this moment. So Jano very much within the EAS range, within attacking range. If he wants to use some of that EAS, and well, he doesn't have right now. Just about above 10%, but the same goes for Simple H4. So neither driver really able to burn some of that EAS to defend the position or make a pass. Another penalty for Jano, that's his 4th one, he's up to 12 seconds now I believe. I'm just gonna check for to make sure. Yes, 12 seconds of penalties to Jano, so he's been really struggling with track limits tonight. Meanwhile, we just saw Jerome put in the fast lap, or sorry, Ariel Jerome, I have to clarify, put in the fast lap of the reins once again. Gap is down to 4.7 seconds, 4.6 now even, so he is gaining rapidly on his teammate. Could be on his way to a race win if he can keep this up. Obviously, it depends how well those medium tires last, if they drop off by the end. Meanwhile, also Skyline very close to its Jerome. Will he make the move? I did say Jerome would be able to defend with that EAS, but of course Skyline does have the EAS advantage, which can't be underestimated. Oh, it shouldn't be underestimated, I should say. But for now, Ichiron is just fine, as Zem has gotten past Nico in the fight for P9. Of course, Zem right now in the medium will have a tire advantage. Ichiron, 3-second time penalty, which I believe is his first race. Yes, indeed. We've got a significant amount of penalties. Almost every driver in the field has a penalty of some sort, which, well, it's actually to be expected. Mexico is very difficult, especially the S section. It's so easy to just run slightly wide or cut the corner by a few millimeters, and that's obviously enough for a warning on the Formula 1 game, or, well, most racing games as well. Well, another penalty, Seep with a 3-second time penalty. Yeah, those penalties will definitely change the finishing order of this race quite significantly. No, apologies. Yellow flags in the last corner. Jano has spun around when he's gotten going again, down to P13. The Williams of Seep is right behind him and will probably stay behind him as well. Unless Jano, well, he might have some very hot tires now, which could lead to further spins, but unless that's the case, he should be just fine. Meanwhile, fight from P4 to P7. Coolman to Lynx very close together, with Ichiron practically pushing Coolman here through the, well, not actually the slower section of the track. The stadium section is probably even slower than that one. But he is so close to Red Bull driver. Of course, it's Coolman actually still yet to pit. He has been on those hard tires for the entire race, so he will have to pit. He might be going for softs or waiting for a safety car. Either way, Coolman is trying something here. Not sure if it's gonna work. Elliott, though, will be absolutely loving this as he's holding up his opponents for the podium. Yellow flag in sector. Jano's off the race! Jano's off the race! This could lead to another safety car. This could lead to a second safety car in this race. Jano has lost it somewhere in the S section. There we go. He's on the right hand side there. Virtual safety car. Or is it the full one? I can't see the safety car leaving the pit lane. So I believe it's just a virtual safety car that has just been deployed. Virtual safety car indeed, yes. No full safety car. Just the race being neutralized for a few minutes. And that's actually gonna give me the opportunity to have a drink, as I can feel my my throat starting to itch. And I don't want to be having a sore throat tomorrow. Right, and we're back. And just as I'm done, we are also back at the racing. Perfect timing! Safety car is done, and immediately we can see Coolman and Jerome Skyline very close together, so they have been patiently waiting for this restart. Will Skyline go for a move into the stadium section? Yes, he's trying to go around the outside! But yeah, no chance that he's going to pull that one off. Has to stick behind him. And Jerome keeps 5th place. But now heading on to the main straight. I mean, it is really time for Coolman to box at this point. Those hearts must have been completely shot by now. And yes, he is boxing. Coolman is in the pits. Interesting to see what tires he goes on to. We'll stay on. We'll keep our cameras on the fight for P4 here, as Jerome will be defending from Skyline. and he will be defending from Lynx as well, but I think with Jerome having the DRS of Coolman still, he should be fine. Coolman going to mediums, so not able to stretch those hards long enough to go for softs. Skyline was in the gravel, or in the grass for a second there, but I think that was just a bit of a connection issue. He is just fine, hasn't lost any time. Meanwhile, Ariel Jerome down to 3 seconds, or 3.3 seconds, so he's very close to that 3-second gap that he needs to have to Kian if he wants to win this race. Jerome could very much so win this race, take this race win away from his teammate. Obviously you want to see battles on track, but for now it's being decided on penalties, as Kian does have that 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Seep gets past Coolman for P13, or P12, sorry. But Coolman does have the fresh tires, so once he gets those up to temperature, he should be fighting back against the Williams driver. 3-second time penalty to SXT Daniel, that could impact his position as well, as he's only got 1.3 seconds of a gap to the car behind him, to Zem. Then getting past Nick Kenshin, who's now in the pit lane. And he's actually going to go for soft, so he might be going for fast lap in this race, as well, he wasn't going to get points, I don't think. Meanwhile, Ariel Jerome down to 3.0 seconds. And there we go, he's within 3 seconds. This is what I was waiting for. But Jerome has 0% ERS. Kian has about 30%, so Kian might still be able to fight back. He does have some chance still to win this race. If those mediums just start to drop off, maybe this could be so interesting by the end of the race. Can Jerome stay in the 3 seconds? Can Kian pull up the gap once again, once those hards, or once the crossover between the mediums and the hards comes, or if it even comes at all, if those mediums just go to the end fine with no significant tire wear, then Jerome should have this in the bag. Even if he does have virtually no ERS right now. Lynx is going for a move on Skyline, is he? No, he's not. But Skyline with another penalty, I think that's his second one, or even his third one actually. Skyline up to 9 seconds of penalties. Meanwhile, Jerome has been able to separate from Skyline, already almost a 2-second gap. On top of that, Jerome is very close to Elliott. He's almost gotten into his DRS range again. So we might be seeing Jerome attacking Elliott for the final podium position in P3, but Elliott penalty free right now, Jerome isn't. That could affect it, of course. I don't think Jerome will be able to pass him and follow the gap. That will be a big ask for it's Jerome. Meanwhile, TF Lynx is right behind Skyline here, and Skyline is derating below 10% of ERS, but so is Lynx. Lynx gonna go send one up the inside and gets the move done before the corner even. Skyline down to P6, Lynx up into P5. But, well, Skyline didn't have more penalties anyway, so he would have lost the position on penalties either way. The smartest choice for him might be to not fight this one too much and try to just pull as big a gap as possible to lose as little places as possible with his, well, frankly, massive amount of penalties that he's received in this race. Just getting those corner cutting warnings, which are crucial to avoid, really, as those penalties can very much so affect your finishing positions. Even, yeah, you definitely lose more time by getting those penalties than you would gain by cutting the corner, extending it by, well, what is most of the time just a few millimeters or centimeters even, just, so really a marginal time gain, which definitely is not worth getting those penalties. It's definitely accidental, I would argue. I don't think anybody is trying to cut corners. Well, that would be, you would have to be out of your mind realistically to do it on purpose. Skyline right now is staying with Lynx though, so he might try to fight back against the McLaren driver, of course. As I said, smarter choice would be to use his DRS to pull a gap, but of course that goes against the racing driver's instinct. You always want to go for the position, you always want to go for the move, and Skyline not able to make the move, but he is so close, so he might have a chance into second, or into turn 4 in the second DRS straight. Short into 5th gear using the DRS, 2 tenths right now between them. Skyline is very close to Lynx, but again, not quite close enough. It's Coolman and Seep also fighting on P12, Coolman getting past the Williams driver. Meanwhile, Ariel Jerome down to 1.8 seconds, so he's gained even more time. He keeps gaining this time on his teammate. And Kian is definitely in trouble now. He has the penalty, he has worse tires, and Jerome is still gaining on him. He might even get into DRS, but I think once that happens, even if a medium stop off, he will not be getting out of DRS range. So this could be a crucial phase in the race for Kian if he still wants this race win. I mean, either way, it should be a Ferrari 1-2, realistically. I don't think Elliott has any chance of catching it, or anyone else for that matter. Almost a 15-second gap from Jerome to Elliott. Even if Elliott doesn't have a penalty, the 3 seconds from Keon are nowhere near enough to drop him behind the Haas driver. So we're definitely looking at Ferrari 1-2, and those two have been by far the fastest drivers today, I think. You can see just in the gap, they have been able to put a massive gap to the rest of the field, just driving in a league of their own today, I would argue. And yeah, basically deciding the race win between them two. It was close in qualifying, we saw a few other drivers competing for pole. But in the end, the two Ferraris seem to be the dominant force in today's race, as Daniel just got past Skyline for P6. I think at least Daniel got past him. I saw the position swap. It's Cool Man has just lost a few places, I think, and we've got a yellow flag, and that will probably then be It's Cool Man. I'm trying to get an onboard of him. There we go. Yes, he has definitely spun. That was definitely It's Cool Man. But it's gotten going again. He is down to P13. Yeah, the only two guys behind him right now are Nick Kenshin and Ion Dan, which, well, they're both lapped, I believe. They are almost a minute behind, or over a minute behind Cool Man, so they are almost certainly lapped. Nick Kenshin now, a 3-second time penalty, but I don't think it's really that important to him. It's Jerome, is very close to Elliott here. Could try to make a move. Go for P3, on track at least. But the penalty will likely cost him as he goes, not even around the outside, just gets done on the straight. As Daniel gets past Lynx as well, up into P5. We're still seeing those battles from yeah, around the podium places or just off the podium. These guys are still fighting for every position here. Putting on a great show for us tonight. It's been a very enjoyable race until now. We still have 5 laps to go. And still, well, yet to decide who will end up on the podium. Will it be Jerome? Will he pull that gap on Elliott now? Can Kian maybe come back? Can he pull out that 3-second gap still? I think Jerome, he's not gaining any more time, I don't think. He's been staying at about 1.5 to 1.7 for the last couple of laps. So unless Ariel Jerome can pull out some more pace, the gap will stay the same. But obviously, Kian, 3-second time penalty. He has to gain 1.5 seconds in the last 5 laps now. Very tough ask it will be for OP Kian. Unless those tires drop off. Those medium tires. I think Jerome will be taking this win home, but it's nowhere near decided yet. Still very, very exciting all over the field. Jerome has pulled out a 1-second gap to Elliott, or has he? Not quite. Elliott just about kept in the DRS range. Yellow flags for, is that Cool Man or Nick Kenshin? It's Cool Man, but once again, he has been able to get going again pretty quickly. Thankfully, no safety cars. That would, oh, well, maybe actually I wouldn't mind a safety car that would really spice things up as well. Oh, Lynx, a bit of a slide there. But I do also want to see how this plays out, as Skyline is lost it coming out of turn 3, and he's down into P9. Maybe even P10, yes, as Simple H4 gets past him as well. Though Simple H4 still has that qualifying ban and he didn't serve hanging over his head, which will definitely lead to some sort of penalty. Yeah, as I was saying, I wouldn't mind a safety car, but I think I also want to see how the current situation of the medium runners maybe dropping off towards the end playing out. I do want to see that play out, as Daniel, Skyline made another mistake. Meanwhile, Daniel has been overtaken by... Daniel's also made a mistake! Daniel spun out of the air section down to P7, gets passed by Nico, but should stay ahead of his teammate Simple H4. The Alpha male behind him is Ion Dan with a lap down. Elliott has once again kept it in DRS range to each row, and I think that's crucial. As, well, now it's gonna be, well, with every lap he stays in DRS range, it's less laps for Jerome to pull out that 3-second gap that he needs to get this podium in this race still. Yes, 3 seconds, the penalties for each Jerome. So yeah, the penalty is definitely the biggest factor in this race. Only Jerome, Ariel Jerome, I have to clarify once again. Elliott, Simple H4 and Philip with no time penalties in this race. Also Ion Dan, but I think he's actually not even in the lobby at this point. Yeah, that's an air driving, so Ion Dan is not in control of this car anymore. VIR Skyline is boxing for soft compound tires, so he's going for a fast lap in this race with 3 laps to go now, while Ariel Jerome is almost in DRS range to his teammate now. So maybe he's been recovering some ERS and been using some of it to get closer now. And Daniel has lost it! Daniel has lost it again. Just been a couple of laps since he lost it coming off the S section. Now he's lost it going into the S section, and that's him down to P9, with the Aston Martin of GSP Philip not far behind, and no penalties on him either. So Daniel is now under threat as well, losing that P9 potentially to GSP Philip. And I think there's a good chance that he will lose that P9, and yes, he's gonna let him pass as well. So he must be very concerned about his tire temperatures, doesn't want to potentially take out Philip. So he must be very much struggling with those tire temperatures now after those 2 spins back to back. At least that would explain as well why he spun again. One spin does tend to lead to further spins afterwards, and which then keeps going every time you spin. You get more temperature into the tire, you overheat even more, and overheating does lead to spins, especially if you're overheating the rear tires, which are most affected by spins as well. Yellow flag in Sector 1 and Sector 2, that would be one of the Red Bulls who has just spun. That is Nick Kenshin, who has lost his entire front wing as well, but he is still going. But yeah, he's definitely lapped down, at this point. Well, even Skyline isn't far away from a lap down. He is just about to enter turn 1, while the 2 Ferraris, you can see, are also already on the main straight. So yeah, these 2 guys are getting close to lapping people at this point. I mean, they've already lapped 2 drivers. Dan is on AI mode, so they've lapped 1 driver realistically. But still, very impressive performance from these 2 drivers today. They've been the class of the field by an absolute country mile. Ariel Jerome, no ERS, and OP Kian also almost no ERS, so they've been burning everything. But there's only 2 laps to go now, 1.3 seconds to gap, and it does look like Ariel Jerome will take home this race win, thanks to the fact that he doesn't have any time penalties. So, well, it's not really how you want to see a race play out. You want to see that battle on track. But that's how it ended up. Kian made those mistakes, got those time penalties, and it's gonna cost him today, I believe, as he is on his way to start his last lap. 1.5 seconds the gap to Kian, to Jerome, and he will have to gain 1.5 seconds to increase that gap to 3 seconds. And realistically, there is very little chance that Kian pulls this off now. At the moment, there's also no fighting going down lower in the field, so we'll keep our cameras on the front here. We'll stay with Kian and Jerome on the last lap, bringing home a very impressive Ferrari 1-2. I mean, even if I said Jerome Kian made those mistakes, taking those penalties, it has still been a very impressive performance from him. Yeah, getting the pole position by 3/10 almost over the rest of the field. Leading at the front for, I think he's been in the lead for the entire race. He has never once lost the lead, apart from when he boxed earlier than the guys starting on hards. That would have been the only laps where he wasn't in the lead of the race. We've got, I believe, once again, Nick Kenshin, or it's Coolman, one of those 2. I think it's Coolman this time around, having spun. So he might have to let the Ferrari guys pass, and yes, he does. He's going to let them pass. And Kian is now heading into the stadium section for the final time in this race. He will finish the race in first place, but based on the penalties, Jerome will be handed the win. And either way, a Ferrari 1-2, one of the most impressive team performances I've seen in PSGL recent days. Ariel Jerome takes home the race win here in Mexico. Very impressive performance, amazing from both Ferrari drivers. Jerome takes home the win, OP Kian completes the 1-2, and we're now seeing it's Jerome coming round the final corner, but he is also going to lose a place with RSC Elliott, who will be jumping in and taking home that podium. Jerome in P4, but now, I have to admit, I have absolutely no idea. I think Lynx will keep P5, Zem will also keep P6, Nico will drop behind Simple H4, but again, Simple H4 did ignore his qualifying ban. Simple H4 in P7, Nico in P8, Philip will finish in P9 and probably also stay there. I don't think anybody had that amount of penalties. Daniel in P10, Sieb will come on the line in P11, Skyline, the last driver, still running in P12. That has been a very exciting race. I thoroughly enjoyed it. We already had the host leave, so hopefully this doesn't cause any issues with being able to show the race results or anything. As Jano has just left the session. But yeah, Skyline now around the final corner, finishing this race, and there we go, P12 for the Alpine driver. And that's it. It's a bit of a pile up here on the main straight. A lot of the drivers flashing through the final corner apparently. But yeah, Nico gets the Volunteer Driver of the Day award. Yeah, I believe he started quite far down the field and made his way up into the top 10. Impressive performance from him as well, even if it kind of flew under the radar. But there we have your race winner, Ariel Giron, heading onto the podium, taking that trophy for Ferrari alongside his teammate Kian. A 1-2 Ferrari with Haas driver Elliott in P3. Very impressive from all three of them. Thoroughly deserved. Crucial from Jerome and Elliott to stay penalty free, as both of them gained a place each from that. Jerome taking the race win that way, and Elliott, yeah, managing to get the podium rather than it's Jerome in P3. There once again have the full race results already gone through. Luke's very impressive performance, going from 15th to 5th, Zem from 11th to 6th, and well, Nico got the Driver of the Day award, didn't he? So, well, he went from 16th to 8th, so he gained 8 places, which actually is less than Lynx, who gained 10 places, going from 15th to 5th. So interesting that the game still gave the Driver of the Day award to Nico. But yeah, that's where I'll be ending the stream. Fastest of the race goes to Nick Kenshaw with a 1:16.992. I hope you enjoyed you've enjoyed that race just as much as I have. It's been absolutely awesome. Yeah, we'll be back next week for the I should have checked this whole race. That's my bad. Apologies. For the Japanese Grand Prix is what it'll be next week. Hopefully, I'll be joined by Brandon again, as he's been filling in for F5 today. I was filling in for F4 last week, so we've not been commenting together for the last 2 weeks. But hopefully, next week in Japan, both me and Brandon will be able to commentate together in F6. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed the stream, and I hope you keep enjoying the other PSG race going on right now. The 8 PM UK time TS would have started about 20 minutes ago, so you can go over and watch those now if you're interested. And yeah, I shall end the stream now. Bye bye.